Let's get it.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yo, what's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. Hope you're doing well. Genuinely do hope that. And yes, welcome back to Chelsea News. Yes, every single day there is Chelsea News here on Football Therapy, and we are reacting to the Athletics deal sheet today and the Chelsea transfer news. Big stories, big stories. Of course, other big stories in the world of football. Euros are going on. I speak about Kante for France. Rolling back the years. Obviously, Mbappe suffered a broken nose. That was horrendous. Griezmann got a bloodied face as well. It was all going off. I do give a reaction to that, actually, on my other channel, Football Yannick, where I speak about non-Chelsea matters. Do go support that content. Instead of Football Therapy, it's Football Yannick. So check it out. Thank you. But in the meantime, thank you for being here. And if you're yet to subscribe, you know what to do, friends. Drop a like on the video. That's really helpful. Thank you. You're welcome to subscribe. Should you choose to do so, you should hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Different key today, but that's okay. Just quickly, Kante, I do want to say, I know I spoke about him on Football Yannick, just absolutely sensational for France. Literally, like, incredible. Like, he's dead, like, his peak performances. I don't think 2017 Kante ever returned since Chelsea won the Premier League and he won his second Premier League. That was peak Kante, but he was, even when Sarri gave him, shouldn't have played him in the Europa League final because he was injured, it screwed him up big time, but he still had that sort of renaissance at Chelsea in the Champions League run where he was just incroyable. He was so good. And then obviously the last year at Chelsea he only played a few games and went off to Saudi, and then he got reintroduced into the France side. They love him out there. I shared on my social media at Football Yannick on Instagram if you want to follow. The video of him coming back. Everyone loves him. He's just such a sweet man and an amazing footballer. And yeah, my word, against Austria, what a player. And it kind of makes me sad. Like, and again, I said this on my Instagram, but I broadly agree with a lot of the idea at Chelsea. The young players, the building a system for the future, the longevity, not the, sort of mercenaries on high contracts, which served Chelsea very well in the past, but maybe doesn't lend itself too well to the modern game. So I kind of, not all of it, but I kind of agree with some of it. But looking at Kante, he is the last bastion of this just world class at Chelsea. Like this, it was Hazard before him. Hazard left, but then Kante remained, and we won the Champions League with Kante, who was the best player in the Champions League. So I just wanted to sort of salute him, mon frère. Incredible performance from him, and great to see him smiling. I'll say again, he probably never stopped smiling. Anyway, let's get into the news. So, on the Athletics deal sheet, which of course is the published article regarding transfers, there's a section on Chelsea, and we're going to hop into that right now. So it says what has happened this week. There have been no new arrivals, of course, at Chelsea, but Chelsea continued to be active. The biggest stir was caused by Chelsea asking permission from Crystal Palace to agree terms with Michael Olise, and of course more links with Aston Villa's John Duran. More on that later. Of course, on Michael Olise, we've spoken about this quite a lot lately, of course, it being a big story. Chelsea have apparently worked on Olise for many months. I think Romano said on his playback channel, I believe, that Chelsea were working on him like December, January and March. They're spending a lot of time trying to get it. They're seeing him as a priority. Of course, he had reportedly agreed terms with Chelsea last summer, and some people are reporting that those terms stand and that the terms are agreed, or that we've recently contacted him and agreed new terms or agreed terms again. That it's to do with Chelsea and Crystal Palace. Let's read on. Things can change quickly in the transfer window, and there have been examples of that this week. Of course, last week, The Athletic reported that the club were planning for Andre Santos to be part of the first team squad next season, which I was quite excited about and pleased about, and we spoke about it here on the channel. That is still the case, but they are now also open to the possibility of him going back to Strasbourg on loan, where of course he spent the second half of last season there. This was not the case before. The 20-year-old may take some convincing though. Strasbourg fans would be very excited to hear that. He was their best player, or certainly a really, really important, influential player from when he started games. He won, Young Player of the Month in Ligue 1, I believe. He won consecutive Player of the Month for Strasbourg. He was transformative, kind of, in their midfield. So, 6-month loan, they don't want to get excited about him, but they would get excited by another a full year season loan. That's something that they'd probably be quite happy with, I would imagine. Can Santos be convinced? I mean, remember, Santos was signed to Chelsea and they were like, yeah, you're going to be a first team player when he was young as well for Graham Potter in that January. So this is a while ago, and now it's like, okay, go to Forest. Okay, go to Strasbourg. Well, originally it was like they couldn't get him in the team, so he had to go back to Brazil. And then, all right, go to Forest. And then, all right, go to Strasbourg. There'll be a point where this kid is thinking, I'm very good. Can I play for Chelsea, please? But maybe because, and we'll get on to Pedro Lima in just a second, maybe Chelsea feel like they need to give Strasbourg something because Pedro Lima was going to go to Strasbourg. Of course, we'll speak about that now. We'll see, but Andre Santos is a trick. Personally, I'd love him to be in the Chelsea team, especially now we've got Conference League. We'll see what happens. All right, so Wolves have agreed a deal with Sport Recife, or Recife, yes, apologies for my pronunciation there, to sign target Pedro Lima on Monday. So Lima was earmarked as a Beluco signing, so not necessarily Chelsea, but Chelsea and Strasbourg's owners, rather than a specific Chelsea purchase. The plan was for him to play at Strasbourg next season, so this is what me thinking like, because that's not happening anymore, and that was the here we go from Romano as well, by the way. I wonder if they're thinking, oh god, let's give him Santos back to sweeten them. We'll see. I don't know. I'm speculating there. Chelsea have not given up hope on him, signing him, but it appears he will be plying his trade at Molineux. And yes, even Romano, everyone's come out and said now, yeah, it looks like he's agreed terms with Wolves and he's going there. Monday's development taking as a surprise. Of course, that all happened yesterday. Let's play the Gallagher game again. What's happening with Conor Gallagher's exit? Should a club meet the £50 million valuation? The funds would certainly hope with other purchases. Chelsea are adamant they do not need to sell players before June the 30th. That's 12 days' time at time of recording to, of course, comply with this season's PSR rules. That is not the view shared by all outside Stamford Bridge, though there is optimism among some clubs that Chelsea will be looking into cash in a few players before the end of the month, meaning a bargain could be had. Aston Villa are one of the clubs interested in Gallagher. We also know Tottenham and Atletico Madrid are, amongst others as well, apparently. Although they will struggle to meet the asking price without selling players first themselves, a swap deal involving Duran is unlikely, though, like we've said in yesterday's video, Romano has reported that Chelsea are actually very interested in doing player swap deals, and I sort of explained how I feel like that's pretty fanciful and you just simply don't see them in this day and age. American owners trying to bring in trades, Gallagher, who was away with England, of course, Euro 2024, has just 12 months left on his deal. Chelsea, so this is good and something that we've spoken about. Chelsea have not ruled out offering an extension because they do not want to lose him as a free. I said that, I think yesterday, that I believe that a compromise could be met. He won't sign the super long-term deal they want to give him, that he won't agree to be sold like they want to do, and maybe Chelsea won't give him the massive wages he wants, but maybe they just do like a 1+1 deal on top of his 12 months so he can stay a bit longer, so they could sell him if he needs. He can figure out if he's going to play under Enzo Maresca. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone just gets a bit of time to figure out what's going on here. I think that would be good for all parties, personally. Let's move on. So what positions and players are Chelsea looking at? The Athletic right here. Well, let's look at that. The priority right now is trying to win the race for Olise. So that pleases me, because the more I think about this, the more I am actually getting gassed about signing Michael Olise. My inner FIFA playing child is like, ooh, shiny new player, that Man United one. And, other clubs have asked for as well. If we #win the race, that would be exciting. So even though they have had the go-ahead to speak to the 22-year-old, Chelsea know the deal is far from done. Chelsea believe another 3 to 5 teams are also in the frame. The Athletic reported Newcastle and Bayern Munich have also contacted Crystal Palace, while of course Manchester United and Man City have a strong interest in a player. It's interesting to hear Man City, you can understand why reference just as a strong interest. They've got loads of high-profile players or whatever. But Man United, it looked like they were a dead certain, you got Man United fan channels saying he's coming to United, but they've been relegated to a strong interest. See what happens. He could end up anywhere still. I mean, hopefully it's Chelsea. So he is Chelsea's main focus. This is widely reputable reporters saying he's the one. Get him done. Get him done. So the search. Worth mentioning now. If anything pops off, and it can do at any moment. He's going to the Olympics, but he's sort of available for talking to. Do you know what I mean? So anything can happen at any time. So keep it locked to football. Keep it locked to football therapy, because if something does pop off, I will be hopefully the first to get it out to you guys. So yes, Olise is the main focus. Of course, we also have a strong interest in the forward Jean Duran, but it's gone no further than that. That's interesting, because it did seem like it was going to be done. Many of you won't feel disappointed if we don't sign Duran, but I feel like it's an interesting story. Chelsea have been put off making a move for the former academy striker Dom Solanke, at least for the time being, because of a £65 million release clause in his contract. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean that they wouldn't negotiate something else. I don't know. We spoke about Dom Solanke. I wouldn't hate it, but because he is more of a senior striker now. He's going to be 27, so we'll see. So what players could be leaving? Well, there's been no progress on departures like Armando Broja and Trevoh Chalobah. Of course, Broja's playing. He's playing today, actually, I think. Is he playing today or tomorrow? Albania. But he's playing in the Euros. Didn't do himself much of a favour in his first performance. Trevoh Chalobah, that will go on and on and on. The pursuit of Olise has sparked questions among the fan base over Noni Madueke's future, because both like to play on the right flank. But Chelsea do not see it like that at the moment. Should Olise make the switch, they will regard it as the duo fulfilling the 2 players for every position mantra that most leading clubs aim for. Of course, Cole Palmer is expected to play more regularly on the inside. With Raheem Sterling earning in excess of £300,000 a week, there's an acceptance it will be very difficult to find a club looking to sign him. Sterling is preparing for pre-season under new head coach Enzo Maresca. Well, first of all, in terms of let's just break this down for a second. Right, so first of all, in terms of Noni Madueke, I've made my position quite clear. I'd be very happy to keep him. I do feel like 2 players in every position is a good ethos for an elite club, especially if you do have European competitions. Yes, we might not be in elite European competitions, but if anything, it's more strenuous because of it's Thursday, Sunday football rather than Wednesday or Saturday or Sunday. Do you know what I mean? Or Tuesday even, Champions League. You might play on Tuesday, then Sunday or Saturday. Do you know what I mean? The spacing's a lot more forgiving than Europa Conference football. So you need a bigger squad. And, a Noni Madueke, maybe a Conference League's perfect for your Noni Madueke. So I'm very, very happy to keep him there. And, he's got great self-belief. And he was under 30 million quid, Noni. I think he could prove to be a really strong signing for Chelsea. Raheem Sterling, a little bit on him as well. I do feel like he can do a lot better. I hope he can do a lot better. But kind of in theory, I look at Sterling and I look at Enzo Maresca as a strong fit, because Enzo plays heavy possession football. He's obviously a disciple of Guardiola and played at Man City. And Raheem Sterling, at his best, was playing under Guardiola in a Man City style of football, and we haven't had that since Sterling came to Chelsea. I've said this before on the channel. Certainly not under Tuchel. It's a different type of football. Graham Potter, we didn't really see it. Lampard, whatever, no, basically, and Pochettino as well. Pochettino's that sort of risk ball, isn't it? It's like high octane, risky pressing, but none of it suits Sterling. None of it does. But in theory, for the first time in how many years? 3 years now, we will have a coach that will suit Sterling and, get the best out of how he plays. So I do think there's a good chance we will see that. And it's probably the final year, isn't it? Maybe if there's a Saudi bag next summer waiting for him, that if it doesn't go well this upcoming season, something that he would consider. Speaking of Saudi bags, Lukaku I still think is likely to maybe take that move. But, Ziyech has gone to Galatasaray. We know about Kepa and Lukaku. We'll see what happens. Of course, Lukaku had an amazing qualifying campaign for Belgium. He had saw a bit of the good, a bit of the bad from him the other day in that historic loss for Belgium. But, if he catches fire and scores a few goals, I think we'll flog him. And really, the exciting thing is, like I said, I do feel like it's Michael Olise. Chelsea have got players that Maresca can utilise. Cucurella is looking very, very good for Spain. And generally, there's not much needed there. It's a striker, a right winger, I do think a goalkeeper, but it's been very quiet on that front. But of course, as always, as things pop off, I will react here on the channel, so keep it locked. I hope to see you back. I can't wait to read your comments. You guys have good intellectual conversations down there, so keep it up. And I'll see you back here very soon, hopefully. Peace.